Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? AJ Gore here, and we are live once again. And we've got a great show lined up for you tonight. We got a very special guest. We're going to bring him on in a minute. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, Mr. Cliff Crochet, aka Cajun Baby. Guy is a character. Love this dude. He's always hilarious. Always got some shenanigans and something up his sleeve. But he's actually a hell of a fisherman. Plus, we've got a giveaway in honor of Mr. Cliff Crochet. We are going to be giving away to one lucky viewer. It's going to be flip-flop. We're going to figure it's going to be completely picked at random between our viewers on YouTube and our viewers on Facebook. One lucky winner is going to get their hands on either a left-hand or right-handed deadbolt, which we'll talk about the deadbolt reel here in a few minutes of what makes that thing kind of crazy, but something you should have in your arsenal, as well as Cliff's spirale rod. Now, Cliff had a hand in designing and how these things were made. They are actually his brainchild and how he wanted his rods built and how he wanted this deadbolt reel built. And tell you what, we'll bring Cliff on here in a few minutes, and we'll get the we'll get the lowdown on exactly what makes this a heck of a combo that you're going to want to get your hands on, especially if you can win it for free from a guy like me, give it away, AJ, Cast King, and Cliff Crochet himself. So that's pretty cool. So let's see who we got in the comment section. And before I lose my train of thought, now you can win this from being a live viewer, and you can win this from being a rebroadcast viewer. So that's pretty cool. So we're going to pick that next week. But you guys got to pay attention on how to win. So definitely take a look at that little streamer cruising across the bottom there. That'll definitely let you know. Who do we got in here? We got Juan. Juan was first one in here. John, how you doing? Crappie Kev, what's happening? Gary, always good to see you. Oscar, how you doing? Whiskers and Hogs, what's up, man? David Williams, glad to see you. Hello in Virginia. We got Mitchell Hensley. We got Jim in the house. Who else we got here? Robert Green, what's happening? Of course, we got the Justice family joining us. How are you guys doing? Mike Robinson, how are you doing, dude? What else we got? Al Norker is in the house. Man, we got some big players in the house tonight. We may have to behave ourselves. Probably not. Doug, what's happening? All right, let's get to roll. Oh, man, we got Joel Pascal in the house. Got to love Joel. Got to give a shout out to that guy. Theodore Rogers, what's happening? Joshua Cruz, good to see you. How are you? Christopher Sproles, what's going on? All right. I can sit here and give shout-outs all night. Sandra Brooks, what's going on? Let's get our guy, Cliff Crochet, in the conversation and talk about what's going down in Cliff's world, plus get the lowdown on this rod and reel we're going to be giving away. Cliff, here you go, man. Make sure you got your system ready to go, your pants on, your shirt on. What's going on, Cliff? What's happening?
What's going on? Life is good. Life is good.
Not much, man. Life is good. Glad to hear it, man. How's everything going in your world?
Controlled chaos. That's what's going on in my world. We got fishing starting up.
Yeah.
Season started last week for me. Spent a week on Sam Rayburn fishing the Toyota Series, doing some promotional work with Bill Lewis. Okay. So that chaos is starting the tournament season. I have an army of boys that I'm very proud of. Yeah, I got 4 boys playing basketball. Well, 2 are playing basketball, 2 are running around. So it's chaos. Controlled chaos is what's going on for me.
And you guys are big into football too, right?
Yeah, well, I pray, I hope they're football players. But right now it's basketball season, so they're playing basketball. I just enjoy seeing them play sports, man.
That's cool. That's cool, man. That's awesome. Al wants to know how them babies are times 4. And of course, you just had some twins, wasn't it? Twins last year or something to that nature?
Well, I mean, they're about to be 3, but last year, 3 years ago.
Year.
Time flies.
It does.
Time flies. When I tell you controlled chaos, it is controlled chaos.
I can imagine. So how many kids you got in the household? 4 total, or is it 6? It's 4, right?
4.
That's right. Okay.
4 kids, and my wife Sarah is a general. I mean, she could probably work for the Marine Corps or something. She's the leader of the pack, no doubt.
Well, that's awesome. We're already getting questions in here already for people wanting to know some of your tips and tricks, man. So maybe I'll let you answer a question or two before I ask you a question or two. So we'll put this one up on here. Tim K Fishing Outdoors says, Cliff, rod and line used for dock skipping jigs. Lay it out there. What do you throw? What are you using?
So what I throw, and I skip a lot, not just around docks, but around cypress trees or where you would normally flip a pitch. I skip a lot, and I use the 7.6 Pirelli, and I throw a deadbolt, a Speed Demon Elite deadbolt, skip it. And here's what I've learned with a deadbolt, not to go too far into the deadbolt, but one key thing when you're skipping is you got the centrifugal brake system, but you got the magnetic brake on the outside, the Demon Eye, and that little red thing right there, that plays a big part. You can dial that thing in a whole lot more. Line wise, I throw a lot of 20, even 25 covert fluorocarbon.
Yeah.
And, so far so good. A lot of chatterbaits too, man. I skip a lot of chatterbaits. I skip a chatterbait 20-pound covert deadbolt, and 7.4 composites Pirelli. Yeah, skipping is a cool deal.
Skipping's a good deal. Yeah, skipping's fun. Now, there's a weird question for you. Cliff, do you ever throw big rats? And if you do, what gear do you throw? Obviously, you're going to be throwing it on a Spirelli, obviously.
Yeah, so I don't throw a lot of big rats. I'm playing around with the glide bait game a little bit, and I throw that on a 7/8 Spirelli. But for the reel, I throw it on the Bassinator Elite on the Ninja. I want that 6-to-1. You got a bigger spool, a little bit bigger spool. You got a 6-to-1 gear ratio, and you got the green or the yellow color, so I can tell it apart in the rod box.
Nice,
so,
nice.
No rats, but I'm starting to get to that.
Get into that glide bait world. Okay. Now, have you produced any hogs off those glide baits yet?
I've caught
a commitment, though.
I've caught a couple, nothing real big. I've caught a few fish on it. Just trying to learn when and where and where to put it.
Nice. Okay. Now you said you just came off of Sam Rayburn, right?
Yep.
So what would you say if somebody was going to go out and hit this weekend? Like Melissa Justice, who is one of our diehard fans, her family definitely is. She wants to know any tips. They got a tournament there this Saturday. Can you throw anything out there what did well this past week for the MLF guys and maybe for you?
So shout out to the Justice family. I had the pleasure of meeting them in person.
Really? That's awesome.
At a meet and greet we had last week at Rayburn. But for me, I got the way I caught most of my fish was throwing a rattle trap and chatterbait in grass. And but the key was to kill it or kind of yo-yo it, nothing extreme, but let it get down in that grass and then pull it. Most of the bites happen on the fall. You feel it tick, or when you pick up, it was on it.
Now, which brings me to a question that I was going to throw out later, but I got to ask right now. Now, Brent Chapman actually posted this photo right here. And, of course, he was throwing some bladed jigs, of course, that fire red craw, and, of course, some of those strike ring red eye shad with that fire, red pattern on it. And then soon after, I saw this post come up, and I started laughing because I know, either Cliff is poking at Brent, or he's just throwing it out there, making fun of everybody for throwing red this time of year. Now, I got to side with Brent because this time of year, I throw a lot of those colors and do well. Now, I've had a year or two where I didn't, but more often than not, I do. But knowing you, I had to ask. Like, you can even see, like, if you scroll down, you can see my comment. I was like, I think I know what you're doing here. And I got to know, were you poking at the bear a little bit? Or what was the story behind that?
No, that wasn't necessarily a joking at Brent. That was just kind of making fun of us fishermen in general. And I happened to be at Rayburn, which is a red rattle trap lake, and now the red chatterbaits coming, and the red blade spinnerbait. But that's like a December through April thing. So yeah, I'm just trying to understand, like, is that something that the fish tell us, or that's something that fishermen come up with? I'm just trying to figure that out,
Right. Now, I've done really well. Like, there was a while too, a year or two ago, that probably about 2-3 years now, where I was on that that fire engine red craw, whether it was a lipless or it was like a bladed jig or something. And it was fire for me for weeks. And then it shut off and they went to bluegill pattern like overnight. It was kind of crazy. And it took a friend out fishing the heck out of me that weekend. And I'm like, what'd you catch him on? Because I was killing it. And all of a sudden it shut off and he was throwing almost the exact same thing in a bluegill pattern. And it was February. So it's kind of weird how it switched up. So that was crazy. Now, quick question. You also posted this photo right here of the deadbolt with obviously a Colorado blade and a spinner. Did you happen to throw that at all while you were fishing Rayburn, or did you stick with the bladed jig? And what were your colors?
No, I threw a chatterbait and a rattle trap a lot of time. My main colors at Rayburn were I caught someone on a red trap, and I caught someone on a black and blue chatterbait, and that fire craw chatterbait. And I really don't think it was nothing to do with color. I think you just had to put it in their face and get bit. That spinnerbait is it's got a red blade on it, and later in the year that blade goes to chartreuse. But like I like to throw that thing around wood, shallow wood, bump that thing and drop it and slow roll it around lay downs and stuff. It's a good contact bait. I like to make contact with it and kill it. Stop and go. Anytime I talk about fishing brush, stop and go is a big deal. Any kind of bait. But I like that. I like that big spinner bait. You can get away with a little bit more dirty water with that bait.
Now, do you throw a heavy like 1/2 ounce to 3/4, even 1 ounce, or are you strictly more of the lighter spinners? No, I think you're a power fisherman throwing heavy stuff.
Yeah, I throw so like at home, I'm fishing a lot of shallow water, like 3 foot or less. So I throw a lot of 3/8. Okay. And then sometimes I throw half if I really wanna, get it where I need it to be, sling it or burn it a little more, I'll go that 1/2 ounce. But the deal is them blades. You gotta have them big blades. I like them big blades this time of year, nice and slow. Even if I'm got it up high, nice and slow. Get them good bites, man.
That's it. Out here in Arizona, Matt Shura is a guy that I'm pretty good friends with. He's a pro out here in Arizona, and he's actually he got a state record on a spinnerbait, and he's kind of a connoisseur of the spinnerbait here in Arizona. Back when he was younger, but he throws a lot of 3/4 to 1 ounce in deep water. So like if you're fishing a lot of deep water lakes, he throws a heavy spinner, and that actually got me doing it a lot more over the last couple of years in 30 foot of water, making contact and just letting that blade bang. You just barely turning it, and that does pretty good. So spinner's definitely a great all around year, whether it's super cold or super hot. That's a good bait to throw.
And the good thing about spinnerbaits is it kind of been forgotten a little bit.
It has. Like people just look at it as like, that's old hat, man. Nobody does that anymore.
Yeah.
Kind of Carolina rig.
I throw a lot of, I swim a jig a bunch. I throw a chatterbait a bunch, but I throw a spinnerbait a lot too.
Yeah.
Just so happen to have my name on one, AJ.
Oh, do you now?
Crusher Lure. You can check it out. Crusher Lures, Cliff Crochet, petite spinnerbait. How about that?
Pick me one up, Crusher Lures. Okay. That one's getting ordered up just because Cliff said so. So got to support those who support the cause. Well, speaking of supporting the cause, you are getting your tournament series kicking off. It's already started for you, but that wasn't the Bass Pro circuit. That was, you said it was you're fishing the Toyota circuit?
Well, I fished just that one Toyota just to get back on the water, try to get in shape and make a few decisions. And if I can fish one a month or so, I'll be busy. That's enough time on the road. That's enough time at home. And that's kind of a good mix for me. So I just threw one in January to get the year going. So I think that's the only one I fish, the only Toyota. But I'm looking forward to starting the Bass Pro Tour next month.
So we may not see you. I mean, is it possible you may get a wild hair and fish another one if you've got some downtime, or it just happens to work out, or you're only going to focus on the Bass Pro Series right now? No,
Bass Pro Tour only. Okay. You may see me. It'll be totally random, but because January, I mean, man, you ready to go? I was already in town at Rayburn for promotion, and after this, February gets pretty hectic from February until so.
Okay. So We got D Burns asking Cliff, good luck on your 2023 season. Of course, we just discussed that's going to be your Bass Pro Tour. What lakes are you looking forward to fish the most this season? What is the hot lake you're looking to get going?
Man, we're starting off with a good one at Lake Toho, the Kissimmee chain. I like Florida. I've done well in Florida, but I've never got paid on that lake.
Oh,
so I'm excited about that one. And Gunnersville should be a good one too. Lake Murray. I'm looking forward to Lake Murray. I'm looking forward to all of them. The one thing is now we're going 5 fish, so that changes everything. Kind of, sort of, not really.
Yep, that's one of my questions I was going to ask you.
I'm excited about going back to 5 fish.
Do you think that's going to benefit you more in your style? Like, I mean, I know some people can just park and fish deep water, just finesse and just start slaying them. But you love to swing for the fences. You love that shallow water bite. Not saying you can't catch them in deep water. I mean, obviously you can. I mean, you can't get to where you are without being well-rounded all the way. But your power, your where you really shine is in that shallow water. So do you think you're going to benefit more from this 5 fish?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll just be more of a mind thing. It's not like the guys who caught them before are still gonna catch them. You still got to beat them. But that deal of fishing for 8 bites, 7 to 10 bites a day is where I'm more comfortable. Just with the style I like to fish. I like to pick areas apart and I don't know if it's a good habit or a bad habit, but I try to catch one at a time.
Yeah.
I'm not looking for an area to get several bites. I hunt 1 bite at a time. So yeah, I like it. Now every fish counts is a very fun format too, and we still have some of those events
right
with heavy hitters and a team series. So that's fun too. But to do it day in and day out on a professional tour, I'm excited to be fishing 5 fish again.
Heck yeah! Now, not obviously, I don't ever want to throw anybody on the fire there and rake them over the coals. But do you believe this 5 fish format, looking for your 5 best of the day, could potentially hurt some of your competition or bring them down a little bit?
No, I don't think it'll be. I don't think it'll hurt anybody. That one certain person. I think if you take the top 10 out of a certain tournament, probably 7 of the top 10 are still in the top 10. There'll be 2 or 3 or 4 give or take at different tournaments, but it won't be like somebody's just gonna Wheeler's not gonna fall off the end of the earth.
No.
Wheeler's still Wheeler. I mean, you may see Kevin, which Kevin's one of both formats, but like you're just gonna see people that have had good days and good weeks that you didn't notice because it's a different scoring format.
Right.
But to think that the guys that have been catching them are gonna disappear. No, if anything, it'll make it tight at the top because you got guys that have had really good days, 5, 6 fish days that just didn't get enough bites. So
right.
It's gonna be fun, man. It may
cool.
slow the score track it down just a little bit, but the biggest thing that's gonna be different, man. Now like we've always had a score tracker, you know what I mean? And it was a steady tally. But now you only need 5. So if I got 2 of the right ones at 12 o'clock, but you got 5 of the right ones at 12 o'clock, do I have enough sense to stay with what I got, or do I need? Is it better for me to leave to go try to finish my limit? So the score tracker to me is the same old score tracker, but in a different situation. Now it'll be interesting.
And that's another good point, because you could have somebody that, like you said, is caught where you had those guys that were every fish counted and they just flew up the score tracker because they're just hitting that 1.5 pounder here, 2 pounder there, boom, 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 boom. And then you have guys that he's only caught, 3 good fish that day, but they were good ones. They were 4s and 5s, now that person still is in it, where at the later part of the day, they're like, I've only caught 3. I've only had a couple bites. Bertrand has just left me in the dust on a smallmouth bite, and like, golly, I'm out of it. And it just takes the wind out of themselves. But in this format, they're like, I just need 2 more good bites.
Yes.
2 more good bites, and I'm in it. Like, so that's going to change things. Like, that could really work out. So awesome. Well, we've got a question here from Christopher Sproles. Cliff, any pointers for fishing grassy lakes in South Florida? Which, I mean, I know you said you haven't gotten paid on it yet, but maybe you had some great days. What are you going to throw in grassy lakes in South Florida?
So grassy lakes in Florida. Now, I hadn't got paid on Kissimmee, but my biggest fish ever came out of the St. Johns River, 10 pounds, 5 ounces on a frog. How about that?
There you go.
So
for grassy lake, Florida lake, what do you think?
Grassy Lake, Florida, you gotta have a moving bait and like a flipping style bait.
Okay.
You gotta make sure you get the right equipment, because if you're in South Florida this time of year, you got a chance to catch a fish of a lifetime. So make sure you got good line, good rods, good reels, all of that. And then from there, I would have 2 baits tied on. I'm gonna have a reeling worm, something like a big bopper, speed worm, or something like that. And then I'm gonna have on a reeling frog, something like a BF toad or something like that, horny toad, a ribbit, BF toad, something like that. 65 pound braid covering water. And then I'd have a big weight, 1.5 ounces, with a craw something or some type of I'm trying to punch if I can, or if not, flipping's gonna come into play. So I have a moving approach and a still, a slow down approach. But Florida's all about finding that right area. So cover water till you find it, and you know when you find it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Whenever you start playing that violin on your strings, man, you know what's up. So now on the complete opposite flip of the spectrum, got another question. How's your finesse game headed back to smallmouth country? You think your finesse game is strong for them smallies this year?
Yeah, so my finesse game is not bad.
Not saying it ever was.
I just don't do it in the right areas. So here's what I learned about smallmouth fishing that I didn't quite know before is man, like at St. Clair, you can catch them rascals cranking. And I mean, that seems, I guess, common knowledge to some people, but I've always tried to, straight drop shot, straight out the gate. But the last time I went to St. Clair, I caught them on cranking pretty good. And then at St. Lawrence, caught them on a chatterbait real good up shallow. So I know smallmouth's a finesse deal, but maybe I don't need to go so finesse. And I can still power fish them a little bit, but I enjoy doing that, man. It's just sometimes it'd be hard to find them, but I do enjoy catching them.
I'll tell you what, man. I can tell you right now, the fans would love to see Cliff Crochet put on a smallmouth clinic sometime this year. So we'll be rooting for it. So now, speaking of putting on a clinic, put on a clinic for us about this setup right here, which we're going to be giving this away. Now, whoever wins gets to pick what rod, as long as it's in stock, of course. Now, this is the Spirale rod featuring AAA manganese cord. We got American Tackle reel seats, American Tackle microwave air guides. I mean, we've got nano resin. There's a lot that goes into this thing, but what really went into it that makes it even more special is your 2 cents. You put your 2 cents in on this thing from the beginning, since fruition. This rod wouldn't be in existence if it wasn't for you. So tell us about this series of rods and let the people know what options they have if they are the lucky winner and what makes this Spirale rod so awesome. Then you can go right into the deadbolt and why this thing is so weird where's the drag? Like, tell us what's going on, Cliff.
So the rod and the reel are both kind of weird because the Spirale rod has
it's hard to tell on the camera.
Spiral wrap eyes on it, which is Spirale is a French word for spiral. So the eyes are spiral wrapped on it, which is something that's been going on in the rod business for a long time. But to get it done high quality, high volume, Cash King got it done for us. And the biggest thing, not to go into a long sermon about spiral wrap guides, the biggest thing about that spiral wrap guide that I really like, 2 things. One is the line hangs on the rod, on the guides.
Right. And just not touching the rod.
Just like it would be on a spinning rod. So when as far as sensitivity, to me, the sensitivity goes up. More sensitive when you're flipping and that kind of stuff. The next thing is that line never gets in a bind. You know what I'm saying? Because it goes where it wants to. You're not fighting to keep it up on top of the blank. It goes where it wants to. It falls under its gravity. That's where it go. It will just fall anyway. And another thing is when that rod is loaded up and you got that fish on and that rod is powered up, the line being under the blank, the line can't touch the blank, which is a big deal because when the line touches the blank, that's where slack comes in. Slack goes down the line to the hook in the fish's mouth. That's where you get problems when fish coming off. So that's just a little bit on the spiral wraps and what makes that rod, what makes it different. The eyes look a little funny to some people, but it's been going on in the fishing world for a long time. And
won a lot of awards for those guides. Yes,
there's
sir.
I can tell you, there's a lot of spiral wrap rods in Bass Pro Tour boats and Elite Series boats that you don't see, but they are there. So that's the rod. So that rod comes in several different models. We got a 7/8 punching, a 7/6 flipping, a 7/4 composite, a 7-foot composite. We got a 7/3 heavy graphite, and you got a 7/3 medium heavy graphite. The my sort of punching rod and the flipping rod, solid rods. We worked on actions with all of them. So those two rods are like balanced and built. We just didn't go to a factory and say, give me a punching rod. You know, like there were several rods that we went through to get to that point on the flipping rod and a punching rod. The 7/4 composite is my workhorse personally. A lot of spinner baits, a lot of chatterbaits, a lot of bigger square bills, that kind of stuff. Even whopper ploppers, buzz baits. I've caught a lot of fish on a swim jig with braid. That 7/4 composite does a lot for me. And the 7-foot is the same rod, just a little bit smaller. It's not as much rod to handle for casting, that type of stuff.
Yeah, there was people in the comment section wanting to know what you threw, like a lot of your bladed jigs and spinners and things of that nature. And there it was, that 7/4.
7/4 composite. I mean, I go out sometime and I'll have, like a dozen 7/4 composites. A couple different chatterbaits, a couple different square bills. It's a real good ripping rod for that rattle trap. That's a workhorse for me.
Okay.
And then the 7/3 medium heavy graphite, that was built. That was kind of like a step down from that composite. A little bit softer, a little bit just a little bit more moderate. It's just a little bit softer rod. And then the 7/3 heavy is that's a good all around rod. But that rod was built for frogging in mind.
Okay.
It was that rod was skipping frogs, open water, that kind of stuff. And I tell you about the weight of that rod. I don't know exactly what it weighs. Maybe I should know, but I've compared it when we were testing those rods. Me and Al, I had a rod, another rod, and it felt like the action of it was good, but it felt like a 2x4. I mean, it was physically heavy.
Right.
And then so we get the 7/3 heavy spirale, and I start throwing that rod, and I'm like, man, this rod feels awesome. It was light. The tip was a little bit lighter, or so I thought, than the other rod, and it felt good. And I'm like, man, I just don't know about this tip. Do I have too much tip? And we got to mess with those rods, whatever. Now, so that's the action you wanted. That's what you told me to build, and he built it. What I didn't know was with the spirale being lighter, a lighter weight, physical, a lighter weight. Right. It made the rod seem like a lighter action, but it wasn't. So like the weight of that rod, it makes that 7/3 heavy, that frog rod. It feels like a spinnerbait rod in your hand. You would never know that it's a 7/3 meat stick shank pulling fish out the bushes.
Yes, sir.
So I was throwing jokes over here about Sean Payton going to the Broncos, but I mean he'd be better in New Orleans, but they definitely got a good one in Denver. That's the rundown of the rods. That 7.3 heavy, the 7.4 composite. I spent a lot of time.
Here's the 7.4 composite here, and you can see I've been, the spoon bite is just, didn't quite happen this year for me, but before it's killed it. And I've done good on this setup here, but I also throw frogs with this one and spinners and whatnot. Like you said, it's killer. But now, tell us about this guy, this funny missing components deadbolt. What is the story behind it, and why does somebody want to win one?
So the deadbolt is it's kind of like a normal reel. It's kind of not. So the deal with deadbolt is what I call a performance casting reel. It's got centrifugal braking system. It's got a magnetic braking system, which lets you dial that reel in pretty good. And casting lets you get exactly what you want out of it. And then what I wanted was a workhorse reel. With most of my fishing, 90% of my fishing is with 15-pound line or bigger, whether that be braid or fluorocarbon or monofilament. And the first thing I do when I get a reel, spool it up, go fishing, most of the time is just tighten that drag down. On a normal reel, that's what you would do. The only time that drag comes into play for me is when it backs off, or it's too loose, or when it fails or doesn't work the way it's supposed to. That's where drag comes in for me most of the time. So I went to Cash King. I said, hey, man, I want a performance casting reel that I can throw any bait I want as far as I want. But I'm going to have the drag locked down anyway. So let's just build a reel with a lockdown drag. Nothing comes out. And then so what I did was I took that part of the equation of something that can go wrong for me during the day, took it out of the way. Yeah. And here we go. So now I got a reel that when I set the hook frogging, the drag's not slipping. Or, man, I thought it was tight, or I thought it was tighter than that. I've took that total out of the way. There's no star drag on the reel. It's locked down. It's good to go. Now,
and you got a big, heavy handle on an aluminum chassis, and that really makes this thing a powerhouse.
And here's the two things about that. That handle is not the original handle that we used to prototype it. When we had the prototype, we had a handle. We used it. It was fair, but it wasn't what we needed. So we went back, got a bigger handle, and that aluminum frame you talked about, that's a big deal because when you're fishing with no drag and you're throwing 20-pound fluoro, 65, 80-pound braid, moving stuff, that aluminum frame, one piece, it's not twisting, it's not torquing, it's all solid, lightweight. So basically what I wanted was an army tank.
Yeah, you got it. You got a bulldozer, man. This is an Abrams right here.
And the cool thing about that setup, that deadbolt, is it's one of those things to me that should have been made 50 years ago.
Yeah,
or it probably was 50 years ago, but for some reason, I think it's a great idea.
But definitely not to the par that this one's set up with. Aluminum frame, larger handle, no drag. 10+1 stainless steel shielded, ball bearings. Actual centrifugal braking system with the magnetic, to dial and fine tune it. Like
that for me, the drag, removing the drag was a big deal. The handle was a big deal, and the centrifugal braking was a big deal. That way I could throw it. I had a big handle to hold on to. Dial that reel, but we talk about the drag, no drag, and that obviously that's the main part of the reel. But man, the performance part of that reel. I was at Rayburn last week throwing traps and chatterbaits, and my co-ang was like, "Bro, what kind of reel is that?" I said, "Well, that's a Cash King deadbolt." I mean, it throws. It's a Cadillac Corvette in an army tank. I love it.
You got a supercharged
Hey,
A-Rip
so
right there.
I told you this before we went on. Anytime I talk about that rod, the Spirale rod or the deadbolt reel, especially the reel, I'm kind of in awe. I'm kind of like all shucks about it, like, because I guess my baby. Those two projects are mine. How
Right.
about talk the powers of Cash King into building a rod and reel for me, especially the reel. I have no idea how I talked them into it. I think I kind of put my name on the line, and this project, it's working, thank God, because this was the last project they probably would have given me had it not worked. But man, that was I'm telling you, I'm in awe, man. You just you pray to have a career in this industry, and in some kind of way you sneak in and it goes on, and you pray to hook up with the right people and people you want to work with, and that happens. And then you ask for a product and they give it to you, and you go to ICAST, you go to Classic, you go to Red Crest, you go to these things, and you see representatives from other high-end fishing tackle companies, legendary companies,
Yes, sir.
respected companies around the world in your booth. Some of them hide their tag, some of them don't.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And they're looking at this deadbolt, and I'm like, dude, this is crazy. This it's humbling. It's amazing. I'm thankful that that Cash King gave me a shot at that project.
Absolutely.
I'm glad the fans like it.
Oh yeah, and he's 100% right. I've been at those shows with you. I've seen those other reel manufacturers come over and companies, and they're taking photos and they're taking notes and they're asking questions and they're scratching their head, and you can almost see they're like, well, why didn't we think of that kind of thing going on? And they're conversating with each other quietly, walking off, talking. And it's kind of neat. It's very flattering, and that was your brainchild that you brought to the table. So that's awesome. And you know what, guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys love Cliff as much as I do and love his antics and his shenanigans and who he is, keep him doing it, man. Keep him going, pump him, promote him, and actually go out there and pick yourself up a deadbolt or a Spirale, or get them both. Put them to work. Give them a try. If you're into frogging, if you're into powerhouse, and I always say the deadbolt is if Scorpion from Mortal Kombat had a fishing reel, it'd be the deadbolt. Just it's built with ill will and discontent. You just whack, get over here, just yank them out of the nastiest places. I mean, you are the Scorpion of Mortal Kombat and fishing with that thing right there. So, guys, get out there, get yourself a deadbolt, or even try one of the Spirales. They're awesome. Check them out. You can get them at Tackle Warehouse. You can get them at casking.com. Quite a bunch of different places are selling this product, and the deadbolts are all over the place. Got to get one. Or you can get lucky and win one tonight, guys. Well, not tonight. I'll announce it next week. But you can participate by following the rules down below tonight, and of course in the rebroadcast. So yes, that's right, rebroadcast viewers, you have a chance. One lucky viewer is going to get picked between Facebook or YouTube, and they're going to get to choose whether they want a right hand or left hand deadbolt, and they get to pick one of their different options in the Spirale lineup designed by Mr. Cliff Crochet himself. So Cliff, before I let you go, right here, last question. We've had a million questions, guys. I'm sorry that I couldn't take them all. Cliff's a busy guy. He's got kids running around. His wife's about to divorce him because he's not in there helping her change diapers and get the kids ready for basketball. But Cliff, what is your favorite spinning rod you use in the casting lineup? Now, the Spirales don't have a spinning rod lineup, so you're using a Speed Demon Pro rod, I'd imagine. What's your favorite setup?
Well, hold off on the spinning rod because I saw a question about a gear ratio.
Oh, go for it.
Which I'm a fishing fool, so I love those. That's a 2-hour conversation about the gear ratio. So the Spirale, the deadbolt is a 7-to-1 reel. I fished with coming up. I spent a lot of time with a 6-3-to-1 in my hand. And then I've thrown Bassinator Elites now for 4 or 5 years or so, and they come in a 6-to-1 or 8-to-1, and 6 feels kind of slow for me. 8, I think sometimes I'm fishing a little too fast, so we went right in the middle with 7, and that's kind of where where we at. That's how we got to the gear ratio. So, and gear ratio is a personal deal, and a lot of it depends on technique too. But generally, all around, that's 7-to-1 is where we at on a deadbolt. So the spinning rod is I throw a shaky head Speed Demon Elite. I don't do a whole lot of finesse fishing, so saying. So what I did was I found one that was good for everything. So I throw a shaky head on that rod. I throw a drop shot. I throw a wacky worm. I got about 6 spinning rods, and that's what I said. I tried a couple, got with Brent, and we looked at some different stuff, and that's the one to me that fit with what I like. And I didn't want to go from one technique to the other and have to learn how to cast or feel that bite. So
that shaky head does so much. I have to agree with you. I've got the drop shot, I've got the finesse tube, and I've got the shaky heads, and I go back to that shaky head more than any other spinning rod I have. And granted, I've got the Crixus spinning rods, I got the Royal, the Royal Legend, I've got the Para G2s. I mean, I've got some of the walleye, wide eye stuff, and they're amazing stuff. But that Speed Demon Pro shaky head, if you were to get one and done, that's the money right there. That's the money. That's a great one. You can do drop shot with it, shaky head with it, throw top water like Senko stuff. I mean, it's just where it's at. I agree with you 110%.
Wacky, I do throw a wacky worm a little bit more than I admit I do, and casting that thing, skipping it is a big deal. And that shaky head rod for me is right where perfect, right where I want to be. And even catching big smallmouth drifting on the St. Lawrence River or St. Clair, half-ounce weight, going to drop shot. Just to me, it's just all around good ride.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Cliff, I've exceeded the time that I told you that you'd be on. But when you get these people that just these commenters asking all these questions, and I apologize, but you got to love it when the fans, these people want to know. They want to know, what is Cliff throwing, what is Cliff doing, and how does he do it? We got to give you appreciation and thank you very much for taking the time to answer just a small fraction of the questions that are coming through in the comment section, man. I really appreciate it, Cliff. I really do.
Well, thanks for having me. But I got to say this. Thank you to the fans and fellow fishermen, because if it wasn't for them following our stuff and liking our stuff and buying our products and that kind of stuff, I'd be back doing my old job. So
nobody wants to do their old job.
It wouldn't be for the fans. It wouldn't shoot. That'd be the real job. So
I work a real day job, and it's not what I want to do all the time.
Yeah, big thanks to everybody for letting me keep the house for another month. Appreciate it.
Bill's getting paid. We appreciate that. Well, I'll tell you what, man, you got a lot of people just going in here thanking you like crazy. Robert Green, the deadbolt is the truth. It's the truth. You got to love that for sure. Well, Cliff, I appreciate you, man. Is there anything you want to tell anybody before you say goodbye? How can they follow you? How can they watch you? Let us know. Yeah,
across all social platforms, it's all Cliff Crochet or Cajun Baby Fishing. And follow me along on social media. It's some business, some personal. You gotta we talk fishing, go to a football game, basketball game every now and then. Yeah, follow me out. Let me know if whatever y'all want to see, if you got any questions, or if y'all want my opinion on a fishing technique or something like that. I love talking fishing, so just reach out through social media, and I'm always around. I love to talk fishing.
Well, we appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Cliff, have a great night, and we'll see you at the next MLF Pro or the Bass Pro Tour. Good luck, man. Get out there, swing for the fences, and I hope to see you up on that score tracker, man. Put up the best 5 you can, brother.
That's the plan. Give me one of them big red trophies.
Oh, man. Thanks, Cliff. Have a great night. Mr. Cliff Crochet Cajun Baby himself, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. We always love it. Anytime we can have some of the pros on, especially some of our MLF pros. It's going to be a great year. 2023 has got a lot of stuff happening. January's already ending. Last day of January. February's kicking off. Before you know it, we got March hitting, which is going to be, the Bassmaster Classic. We've got Red Crest coming up. We've got ICAST coming up. And I got to tell you what, Cast King has some great stuff in store for you this year. Some big stuff, some big things happening. We've got stuff for you elite people. We got stuff for the middle of the road people. We got stuff for the entry level. We got people that don't want to spend a whole lot. We got you covered. We got people who really want the best of the best. We got some of that stuff coming for you guys this year. We got some great stuff coming. Everybody's going to love it, guys. Stay tuned. Keep your eye on Cast King. I mean, we got a lot going on. And if you guys want to get it going on, make sure you get it going on in the comment section. Make sure you're liking, hitting that love, that heart, that like button, whatever emoji you want to throw in there. We want to see it. Smash that subscribe button. Share it. Tag some friends. Let them know what's going on. That's how you enter to win, is make sure you're posting in the comment section. And we're going to randomly pick a winner from Facebook or YouTube. It'll be a random deal. I'll pick 2 people, and I'll do the on-air coin toss again to see who's going to be the lucky winner of that Spirali rod and deadbolt from Mr. Cliff Crochet himself. Guys, have a great night, and I will see you next Tuesday night to announce a lucky winner. You guys take it easy. Peace out. Good night, guys. Have a great night.